So we're asking you, especially ladies out there, in fact, just you ladies out there, the crying man, is he weak or is he not? We had a very strong argument all through the week, strong from Monday up until Thursday, about vulnerability of men and whether they should exhibit it in front of their women. I started by asking a question on a breakfast show, how many men in our crew had cried before in front of their women before, and I think I've asked that question here on a BlackTable before.
Yes, you
It's
have.
a very big deal. Because ladies are always like, you told us about your wife from today, your wife, yes?
Yep.
What was that? What was that argument you guys were having?
So, I think women can't draw the line between vulnerability and crying. And I come from the standpoint that men are different from women. Men are more rational than emotional. Women are more emotional. That's why they tend to cry a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as a woman, if your husband cries, you are obviously going to look at him different. Because, like, why are you crying? I think as a man, you only have two excuses to cry. The day your father dies, the day your mother dies. After that, bro, do life. You feel very bad about anything, lock yourself up in the toilet, cry your eyes out, then
Clean
wipe up and then put on your big boy shorts. Because what message are you sending to your partner? My husband, I did cry. I love him. Office party convo.
It's very funny how once you make the mistake of crying in front of a woman,
she never sees you the same.
She sees you on the same level as her.
Bro, she never sees you the same again.
People, you say that you never cried in front of your partner?
Facts. She not be the same.
I will never, I shall never.
Take.
I can never, I for never, I past never, I future never.
Like every never possible.
But gang, I'm coming to you, please.
No, but we don't say this one, not crying before. So like, but let's go there.
Let's say gang. But Femi, I really want to go in deeper and inquire.
Please, go ahead.
No strange thoughts. Are you saying that it has never happened that you have been?
When my dad died, I cried.
No. Let's leave all those emotional.
Crying and vulnerability are not the same thing, though. Men express emotions in different ways.
Vulnerability
I'm vulnerable every day. Like, oh my God, I'm broke.
Now, how do you express that vulnerability with your wife? Because they say in marriage, in love, that being vulnerable to your partner is a very big factor.
So that's exactly the convo we had before I left the house today. And she was like, there's nothing, I've never seen you vulnerable. I'm like, what? Even when the world sees me as Superman, you know that I'm a man. I'm like, how are we going to figure this out? You see me at my lowest point now. Like, everybody doesn't see that. To the rest of the world, the boy is man of steel. But you know that, no be man of steel. Bullet, the entire inside, right? Do I need to shed tears before you know that, hey, now I have it? No, come on now. Like, and moreover, I'm not even built that way. I grew up around men. Like, till my father died, I don't think I ever saw him cry. Yes, I've seen him sad a lot of times. You know when something is troubling him.
True. Like,
why does he have to cry? Like, that's... So I asked her, I was like, your dad is 70 years old. You're going to be 40 next month, yeah? So you've been around your father for 40 years. Have you ever seen him cry? She said, yes. When? Once. When was that? When his brother died. I'm like, bingo. So if you don't have a problem with your dad crying just once in 40 years, how about me? Me and you never do 40 now. Why are you now looking for tears, though? Like, because for me, I'm like, men, and then it's because society actually structures the present-day society. They want to blur the line. They want to blur the line between man and woman.
Gang, because I and Gang were having this conversation just before
blur the line between man and woman.
Moving on now to Gang, whose wife has his balls in her purse. Gang.
And he cries all the time.
Exactly. No, I'm joking, Gang. I'm sorry.
If you like.
But you don't talk before saying they cry.
I'm so sorry. I just thought of something very wrong.
Pause.
You don't talk him before.
She was shaking a bag of
They pull them up.
They pull them up.
I saved it on YouTube.
There is no...
Every day I watch that, I'm like,
there's no in-day cry. Have you cried? Yes. You said something about vulnerability, and I want to agree with you to a certain extent. A lot of people expect you to show vulnerability the way they expect it.
Take. Exactly.
The way you expect it.
Yeah.
It's not as if men don't cry, but men internally
shed
their own tears.
Yeah.
People, if they don't see tears running down your face, let me give you an example. When my dad died, now, when you said just if your dad or your mom, I believe if a significant person to your life passes away, that also comes up into play. Now, when my dad died, one teardrop, the day he passed away, I could not shed any tear. I couldn't cry. Just one drop came out of my eyes, and I was like, I felt there was something wrong with me. They buried him a week later. On the day of the burial, the way I sobbed, do you understand?
He's right. He's actually right.
On the way I sobbed, there's some things that, like you're saying, I don't cry, I won't cry. God forbid the time comes that something that really affects your heart that pushes you to the point that you can't keep these things. You can't internalize it. Do you understand? You would see yourself shedding those tears that you didn't expect. Is it a bad thing? It depends on the reason and the frequency.
So, gang, for a second here, let me stop you and let you continue. I want to differentiate. I want to make sure that there's a clear demarcation between loss and grief and you crying or expressing vulnerability with tears. It's different. Things happen inside of your marriage that, you know, perhaps, now I'm saying perhaps, that you just cannot express in any other way but to shed a tear. And often these would, these things would be something between you and your partner. So have you ever shed a tear?
No, let me tell you, I want to tell you
any
the
of
times
those
I've cried.
instances
I have
with
cried.
your wife. So
Let me
it's
tell
very
you-
different from shedding a tear because you lost a parent.
See, that one, if you're a real man, that one doesn't come into play.
So what, you've never, you don't think men should? You don't think it's...
Not that they here's the funny thing. Like I said, people express vulnerability in different ways. Do you understand? For a guy to easily break down and start shedding tears is very odd.
Most men will break down and start shedding tears when they've been caught cheating, for instance.
Those are crocodile tears. You know that.
I don't know that.
You caught me at the wrong time. I'm going to cry so you can forgive me.
You know that this is going to help. It's going to help you score points with this babe. See, no, seriously.
I'm going to cry so she doesn't cheat back.
Where did they find these people?
No, but seriously, no, but Femi, it's true that we have crocodile
I don't know what you're
tears.
talking about.
When you've done something wrong,
Please.
let me tell women out there, if you're
Don't
watching this
rope me
thing
into this.
and you caught your man
He's
cheating,
speaking for himself.
you caught him cheating and he's crying. Those are fake.
So when you were caught
tears.
cheating, what
A
did
real
you
man
do?
that
I've
cheats
never
will not cry.
cheated. So how can you catch somebody that's never done anything?
Okay.
Let me tell you the times I've cried.
I know they
That my wife would be able to, if you can bring her on the show. Just like, say,
We
male
can't.
joke. But here's the funny thing.
We can
I
call
cried
out.
when I had an operation. Do you understand?
no, that's-
And the pain I
You
was
thought you were
in,
gonna die.
my painkillers
Were
were
not
not working. I was in the middle of the night. I felt as if, you know what?
Nah, this is the end.
This is the end.
Make I
Baba
just-
God,
Make
I
I
don't want
just
to
lose
die.
my masculinity
Leave me
before I
here.
go.
Do you understand? Now, the second time I cried is when my wife was having an operation. It was the birth of my second daughter. There was some, it's a long story, we'll talk about it some other time. But there were some complications that surgery was involved.
Whoa.
And I thought that I was going to
the
lose.
end.
Do you understand? So I in those kind of situations, it's okay. Not you caught me cheating and then me, I'm not the one crying.
That's
That's
thing to do if you're caught cheating. Just
get
shake
me?
your head and act like as if it was jazz.
Oh,
I didn't even catch it. You don't say anything.
Oh, jeez.
No, cry, it might help.
No, the reason why I don't
trying
say
to score points.
no, the reason why I don't say
that
anything
cry
is
will-
Because they know women
No,
respond.
because there's
now.
nothing you
women,
can say
Women
now.
respond to that kind of show of vulnerability or that kind
so
of remorse
there we
with
are.
tears. They know that men don't do
Nah,
this.
they teach people
so,
bad things,
so,
though.
so for a man to cry, a woman now
Exactly.
feels it must be coming from the
Where
heart.
is that woman
Men
from?
don't shed tears. So the fact that he's crying, and men have caught on, they'll be like, let's cry so that they might forgive us.
So basically, are you saying that when they go out now, sometimes they carry rug for pocket?
Who, me?
Yeah.
So you cry.
I've never cheated to
No, but
cry
like-
for
I'm
cheating.
just saying, though.
Okay.
So the thing is, it's very simple. Let me put it to you like this. Men in society, we have to come off like we are strong. Do you understand? Like we can survive, like we can table everything, like we can chest certain things. Or more, if they're flogging you,
Chest
if
it.
Afro come to your house, they flog you. You don't want to cry in front of
So
your
that's
wife.
exactly
You
that,
hold
so,
it.
So that's the same thing I told my wife. I'm like, okay, so now we're sitting at this dining table now. Somebody breaks into the house, and the guy has a gun. And next thing I just start crying. Even my daughter started laughing. I'm like, why are you laughing? She's like, because like she can't even envision it. She's like, oh,
Exactly.
can you see the kind of image you're projecting? I'm like, so let's just say that I started crying. What would you? She's like, I understand that you are scared. I'm like, how would you see me right after that? Like,
She won't understand.
So maybe 1 week later, as well,
That
you'll
kind
be
of
like,
thing, if somebody knock out blow now, say,
Yeah,
Daddy, don't
yeah,
cry.
don't cry.
Daddy, don't cry. That's it. Because here's the funny thing. Not just even your children.
boy.
They see daddy.
Okay, so this is where I'm
daddy
going.
doesn't cry.
So, gang, thank you very much for bringing us that. That's where I'm going now. The effect of that, of doing that, one or the other. What are the effects on the observers? And in this case, your wife and perhaps maybe also your children. Because I believe that it has a very big and strong effect on especially the kids. Whether they're male or female, it affects them differently. Because there's a reason why men are not supposed to
Cry.
you are the guardian of the galaxy now. Why you go to
There,
panic?
there you go. And I have
rather
a
die.
Why
producer,
you dey
I have a
panic?
female producer yelling in my ear, that's not true. You're not part of this show. You're female. This is BlackTable for men.
Exactly.
Calm down. Calm down.
Watch it like everybody
But
else.
there's a key thing. There's a key thing I just heard now that says,
what?
you know, women want men to show emotions, and we can show it without crying. Why do you have to see tears?
Sweat is emotion.
Do you understand?
Do you realize
Me slaving to give you things is emotion.
The moment you
Thank
show
you.
too much emotion, right, she sees you as less.
Bro.
Like it or not.
People-
Every
no, but
woman
guess what?
wants a
People-
pillar.
People
If
don't
you
want to
feel
talk
like- if you
about
look
this
like you
thing that
can
you
break.
just said, but it's the truth, though. Like, I remember one woman, much older woman, and we were having a conversation one day, she said, we were talking about something very private, and she was like, I can't tell my husband, no, because that one night, he could just start to cry. I thought she was joking, right? So I was like, So I'm like, no, my husband cries a lot. And I'm like, what?
And she told you this.
Oh, guess what? Then she now ended it by saying, sometimes if I don't even know who is the woman in the relationship. And in that very instant, I was like, our parents were right. Like, because the truth is, we weren't that close, but she knew that, okay, that dynamics, like, something was wrong there. Like, why, bro, why are you crying, though? Why? You know, be thinking now. Go and fix it. So automatically, she has seen that, okay, these shoes, we're going to have to be wearing it together because if they pain you sometimes, like, you go to cry. I'm like, no,
Now, we can come from another angle real quick. I have 2 daughters. Zeno, you have 1 daughter.
Yep.
You have a daughter and a son.
Yeah.
So what do you teach your son in terms of showing emotions? Do you tell your son to be vulnerable or to cry?
So
or
that's
do you
one of
tell...
the running battles I think I'm going to fight for the rest of my life because at every point in time, I'm like, man up. And my wife's like, no, let him express it. I'm like,
because that's what modern society asks of men.
It's a cold world out there.
Yeah.
It's going to chew you up and spit you out. Like, you need to treat your children worse than the world will treat them. And you need to let them know that this is coming from a place of love. Because the truth of the matter is, I will give you everything, mommy will give you everything, but the world will take everything from you. And it's going to leave you confused. You need to let them know, bro, person I know you, move on. Like, you can't even raise children the way people want to raise children now. It's practically impossible. I went to my son's inter-house sport like 2 months ago. Year 1 to year 6. Normally, I remember growing up, when we go for inter-house sports, 5 people run, 1 person will come first, yeah? And the rest of them, you guys just be like, In fact, when you come back, we'll abuse you. You don't even win, right? Year 1 to year 6. When they go like this, the winner comes smiling, and the other 5 people are crying. I'm not joking, no. At one point, I was so disgusted. I was like, what kind of children are we raising? Like, these people can't even compete. Like, they were crying, and their parents were there like, no, don't worry. It's okay.
It's so bad that they actually give the losers prizes now.
That's
what are you
where
doing?
I know it's school.
Yeah.
I'm like,
they
what's
give
that
a prize.
about?
Everywhere
First
all winners
prize,
here.
sixth prize.
Everybody gets chocolate. There's
No.
no
And then you have
Oh.
the guy who probably came first place has this big trophy. Then yours, I came 6th, mommy C.
Like, why?
Daddy
You know?
C.
So I'm like, this thing is unrealistic now. They're just stroking their egos. Oh, don't worry, it's okay. It's not okay. The world doesn't work like this. At what point are you going to tell them that, okay, we have been babying you all this while, now it's a jungle out there. If you go inside this water,
So I guess it's safe to say that we're building very soft children.
overly
You're
soft.
not breeding
Because truth be
survivors.
told,
Yeah.
if you're now, if you're grooming kids and the way you're going to groom your sons is not going to be the exact way you're grooming
So
your
that's
daughters.
what I wanted to. I wanted to exactly put define this. Why would you bring up children differently?
Because there are 2 parallel lines that
I
you
know the
never
answer.
meet.
I'm playing devil's advocate
No,
here.
there are 2 parallel lines that you never meet. A guy is a guy, a woman is a woman.
Uh-huh.
My son cannot expect me to give him the things I'll give to his sister. He should know this.
So are you saying this as a man, and does your wife know this? Do women agree
Everybody
with
that
this?
knows me knows.
No,
my
do
daughter
we-
knows. My daughter knows that there's nothing she cannot collect
Do
from
women
me.
agree with this now?
It does,
and why?
Right, so in this, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter whether they agree
can
or not.
agree to disagree.
Deep down in their minds, they know it's the right thing. Like, I always teach my boy to work for these things. Like, you have to earn it.
And what do you teach your girl?
I'm your father now, daughter of rich uncle. What are you talking about? Take it. Is that? So I'm going to give my daughter the world so that nobody can bamboozle her with anything.
Don't you think you're also setting her up?
That's the guy that will marry her. That's his problem. You see him now? That's his problem. You see him before you go marry him now?
Yeah,
You don't
yeah,
understand?
yeah.
Oh, she's flying business class. That's what her daddy can afford. You cannot. Please move. Somebody else will. And if she can't find somebody that will, that's her problem as well. But the truth is, I'm not going to do that for my son, bro. You go work for this thing, though. You have to. Even my daughter works with me when she's on holiday. I teach her the business because the truth of the matter is, you need to let them know that life is not chocolate and ice cream.
Because to the outside world, see, the
it's a
outside
different
world, what they're going
world.
to go and face outside the
It's
home
a
is
different
different.
world.
If you want your son to be a protector and provider, there's a way you will raise him.
Raise him.
Do you understand?
You can't raise him
If
like a girl.
You shelter your daughters to a certain point because you know about how the world is out there. And you just train your boys to be, not that you don't train your girls to be strong as well and be able to be as independent as they can be, but you know it's a real world out there, and at the end of the day, they're going to be on their own. But to come and tell your son that be crying, any small thing, be crying.
It's okay, let it out.
Let him express the emotion.
Be crying.
He'll cry so much, nothing. He'll want to be a sheep.
Now, sometimes, here's the reality of life. It's not all the emotions you feel that you should express.
God bless you.
Yeah. So first of all,
it's not all the emotions you feel you should express. So it's not
Dion, help me out
you say
here.
you're bottling your emotions.
Dion,
I'm not
help me out
bottling
here.
anything.
When and how do we express our emotions, especially when it comes to that point where you really want to express vulnerability? How would you express it? So just so you know when you're going through this, and no, he's expressing it. Let's leave him alone.
I feel that as a man,
if you can't show tears, what would it be?
if you're going to express any level of vulnerability, take for example, if you're going to say, babe, right now, I'm broke. Don't let her see it that way and keep it that way. You're going to come to her, say it, and come to her with a plan to get out of that situation. Because the moment it looks like we're here, but we are moving forward, she sees you as someone who can handle situations, not someone who is breaking under pressure, and someone who's probably going to make her go outside and do things she doesn't want to just yet, if she's not already doing it.
Wow.
Let me give you a terrible example that happened to a certain family I knew.
You always know this people.
Yeah, you always just exactly.
I have stories for days.
Okay.
Now, some of you might be able to relate with this. Now, there was a loss of a child in the family.
That was a terrible one.
Now, the wife was hysterical, sobbing, crying, shedding tears morning till night. Do you expect the husband to also be sobbing, crying, and shedding tears every day and night? So, to an extent, he did cry eventually.
You had a man up, though.
Do you understand? But at some point, he needed to take charge,
You have to.
control certain things, arrange for the funeral to take place, make certain things happen, be strong for the family's sake, and allow his wife to shed the tears on behalf of the family. At some point, he eventually broke down and cried, and people understood. But at some point, you expect as if, are both of you going to be showing
Crying
your
all day,
emotions and be sobbing
Crying
anyhow
river.
in
Do
one corner
something.
without getting things in place? So sometimes that's a man's responsibility. Sometimes you don't choose these things. They
It's the
come to
burden,
you
exactly. It
as
comes
the
with being a
manhood
man.
that you, how you were born as a man. These are the things that come to you as a man. That's the responsibility of a man, to be able to control certain things. So now you want me to be crying any small thing. Let me tell you something that happened to me one time at home. I had kicked the side of the, your toe. Dude, that thing was painful. And I just said, and my daughter, oh, Daddy, it was so loud they heard it. I thought I broke my toe. And my daughter was like, oh, Daddy, sorry. I was like, On a good day, if I was alone at home, I would have shouted and I would have laid down and be like,
gang,
God, take the wheel.
I would have let this go, but you touched on a point that we would have talked about earlier. But since you brought that up, I want us to talk about this. It's a very interesting tweet here. If I ever have birth complications, save me, not the baby. Any man that picks a child he doesn't even know like that over you hates you, says this tweet. And there's a comment after that. I'll tell them to save both, and if they can't, then I have no choice than to go for the baby, this guy says. Can't leave my blood to go that way. So since you raised that bit up about a loss in the family of a child, that's why I decided to read that. What do you think about this?
See, sometimes now it's...
the choices you have to make in this kind of
A lot of people have
instance.
their own take on this, but when you're in that position, it's deeper. Like I told you, I eventually cried because of the situation I had family-wise. A lot of people don't know about preeclampsia, which is a pregnancy-induced hypertension that women go through at certain points, where the placenta, or basically, I want to use the right terms, is not growing the way it should.
grow.
Do you understand? And it gets to a point that they have to actually take the baby out.
Yeah.
Do you understand? In order to save the mom. But for me, my daughter was already about 30 weeks or so she was born premature. So they now said, okay, fine. If she's old enough, you can put her in an incubator, which they did, and so on and so forth. But the main thing was that we can't keep the baby in the mother because the mother might die.
Okay, I won't let you answer. I won't let you answer because you already perhaps you've been through that, and everything. What do you think about this?
That one is hard though.
I don't think it's so hard.
Because
it's hard, man. But the truth is, I'm always going to take my child over an unborn baby, though. Because I know
you're take a wife.
I want to take my wife over the unborn child because I know my wife. I don't know the baby. Like, I'm moreover either which, like, there's no way you win, no.
I mean, it's logical. If she's alive, you can make another.
Another one, exactly, though. And then, how do you want to raise that child without the mother? I know. Save the mother. Now. Save the mother. Save the mother. We'll go do another one.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Here's the funny thing, and I stand to be corrected. A lot of women put their children first.
Standard.
That's very different from
women.
Men,
Have a certain attachment. Women will say, "Save my baby."
Save my baby? How? You like? So if you now go, who will save the baby?
No, but that's what I'm saying. No, I'm saying if a woman is in that predicament, whereby it's either her or the baby, the woman would say, "Save the baby."
But that's hard, though. A
lot of women put their children before themselves,
and even
their husbands.
They generally, children. I don't know about husbands though. Children.
That's what I'm saying. Women put their children before their husbands.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So that's why if you're in this kind of medical situations, a lot of women will be like, "Please save the." Women have this strong attachment to their baby. In terms of when it comes to giving birth, they would say, "Doctor, save the baby."
Save the baby.
They would give their lives for their children.
Do you think that's an in-the-moment decision? Because
no, it's not.
I think it's just something that you're
that's
programmed.
That's why when it comes to divorce or certain things, women always feel as if it's my right to go with the children.
It's not culture. It's not nurture. It's not.
You're a doctor. Nurture. You're a doctor. You're telling her right now, if you don't take this baby out, you're going to die, right? So she now has the choice of staying alive or taking the baby out and possibly dying, but the baby stays alive, right? In the moment, I feel she will say, "Save the baby." But if she has like 10 days to think about it,
how much you go rethink her?
If she has like 10 days to think about it,
you go rethink her.
Take that baby out,
here's the thing, Dion. If they're 10 days, it's not as serious as it should.
Yeah, exactly. Then there's a lot that
you could do. When my wife
10 days.
Dude, let me give you an example. My wife just went been through this. For the regular antenatal, regular checkup. We're not even ready to have the baby. We're supposed to have the baby late November. This was like early October, late September, early October. Just went for a checkup and now told me that they don't want to release her from the hospital. That they had to do this thing today. I needed a second opinion. Went to another hospital. They said we agree with them, but the first hospital was saying we just have to terminate the baby and make you well. That's what they were saying. We don't need to take this fetus out of you and make you well. The second hospital said that, how many weeks are you? No, we've taken babies out at this stage and they've survived. It's not that bad, but let's look. And I said you have to do this under like 48 hours. If not, there's a health risk involved. So you don't have that 10 days. Anything that's 10 days, Baba, you know how I think give another girl Bella in 10 days.
Go look where he went.
Well.
We've got comments from everybody out there, a few people out there. So let's take those comments already because we're far out when it comes to time. At Folake, thank you very much for texting in using the hashtag the BlackTable on TVC. Says, which one is Steph London saying, yeah. What about a man who did not help the woman achieve her fortune? Should he be entitled? I met him while he was... Oh, this happened to you. I met him while he was made, so he should not take care of me and the kids because I did not make the money with him. Arrant nonsense, she thinks.
No sensible man will let his children suffer because he broke up with his wife, though. No sensible person will do that. Like, okay, you want to divorce, fine, yeah. And then I don't even think that people can genuinely divorce once they have children. In my own opinion, because you're going to be in each other's life for the rest of your life.
You bet.
I can go and marry Kim Kardashian. You can go and marry
We're still coming back together to agree on this.
When my phone rings at 3 a.m. in the morning and I'm in Madagascar and it's you.
Even if I'm with my second wife.
I know that I have to pick up that call because it could be something wrong with the kid. So you're always going to be in each other's lives. That one... And I can never understand men that don't take care of their children. Though.
We're still expecting more messages from you guys, so please do send them in. At Sumbo here says, I disagree. I tell my son daily never to bottle up his emotions. If you're sad and you need to cry, I beg, because what happens when he has years and years of emotions bottled up? So let's talk about the emotions of men now.
Let me tell you
Does this affect us mentally?
Let me tell you what's going to happen to this mother that says she's telling her son never to bottle up his emotions. You keep crying and crying and crying. One day, he'll come to her crying, you say, what's the reason? When he tells her the reason, even she should be like, is that what you're crying for? Something, it's not everything you just open up and shed tears to. Sometimes you need to, like I said, why is it people feel as if they don't see tears coming out from your eyes?
You're not feeling.
So this is one thing I wanted to say. I almost forgot. Now, there's certain times when men are just quiet and introspective and not talking. Trust us, inside of here, we're perhaps crying.
So when I try to tell people that if I'm with you and we're having a conversation and I'm quiet, like I'm listening to you, yes, I like to listen to people, but not for that long. I mean, I always have an opinion. And if I have nothing to say, there's a problem. If you're telling me anything and I'm like, you're right. No, you're not right. Like, I just want you to end it. So a lot of times, people show emotions in different ways. Like, the fact that it doesn't meet your own standards doesn't mean they're not expressing that emotion.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of times, you can be telling me something that I completely disagree with. But because I know that if I state my opinion, I'm just going to argue for the rest of the day, I'll keep quiet and let you have your way. It doesn't mean I agree with it. But I'm already feeling disgusted.
I'm going to pick something from what you said. There's this video I came across
just a quick one. Just a reminder, you're giving us just a tip when it's going to be a big one.
Okay.
Well.
Wow.
Really?
What's your large?
Yeah, give them all a big tip.
You were saying, Dauda.
This guy, right, he's trying to educate men on the different forms of expression when you're feeling stuff like depression or whatever emotion it is. It's not just tears. I can't remember the name of the guy, but I think it was on Instagram. I came across one of his videos. And he actually says, you know, men need to practice this thing. So you have different things you're feeling at different degrees and different ways you can actually unleash that feeling inside of you, just so it's not something you're containing. But like, generally, women will always just want you to focus on what they would focus on. You know, she's feeling depressed, most likely she's going to cry. So she expects you to do the same thing. And at the end of the day, we all know it won't work for men that way. So.
I think this might be the last message I'll be able to take, but let's read. This is at Damilola says, Mazito, what is male vulnerability? Question, I'm asking you. Male vulnerability is the ability to open up and be honest about our feelings and experience, even when they are difficult. It is the willingness to show up and be seen, even when afraid. Break this down and discuss again. Now, male vulnerability is the ability to open up and honest.
Yeah,
you're correct.
But as right as that
express
person is, does that mean you need to cry?
No, you don't have to.
We're on the same page when we say vulnerability is not necessarily expressed by shedding tears. I personally, nobody asked me if I've ever cried before.
I think you might have.
No, you don't think? You know this guy is...
No.
That crybaby.
No, I'm not a crybaby, but I will say this.
New baby bottom socks.
Have you ever gotten like...
I'm glad I'm not being given a chance to answer that.
Really good head, and then they're like you're in tears inside.
He's definitely single. He's definitely single.
There's some things that make you cry.
That onion booty, Abby.
The
onion booty.
And you know about this because...
I used to be single.
Okay. I like that. I like that.
Listen, it's about time for our just the tip.
Zeno, have you cried?
When I wanted to answer, you people did not tell me.
Yes or no?
No, people didn't let me. There's no point in answering.
Just answer yes or no.
Have you cried?
Okay, so the answer is yes.
Okay, let me.
No, you don't talk about.
No, don't make it seem like as if I'm scared to say. Listen, I have. Yes, I have.
Yes.
My wife has seen me cry. If that's what you're asking.
Oh, okay.
She has seen me cry.
But it was for the right reason.
It was for the right reason.
Define right reason.
No, let's not get it's personal.
They got it.
It's personal.
What they catch you to cry? Men out there, cry. What they catch you?
I don't know what I was doing.
You don't drop codes.
No, let me say this. Please now. Like, can I? Don't make me go out like this. I have cried in front of my wife before, but it was for the right reason. Thank you very much for that phrase. Yeah. It was definitely for the right reason. I will say, however, every man, you and you, gang, you have one get out of jail card. One card to use.
I don't use my own.
This has nothing to do with grief. This is not grief.
This one.
This is not grief. And
say that's what you learn from BlackTable.
If I ever need to use that card that day, it must work.
It is necessary. I believe that
you
should, but only once in your entire life.
And once you pull it out,
I don't think it's only once, though. As long as
you've used the more than once.
No, because you still have loved ones in your lives.
No, I'm just saying.
No, I'm not talking about grief.
Okay,
grief is separate. Grief is separate.
If it's not grief, why you cry? My guy,
listen,
you're man.
Femi, please.
Anything outside grief, you create. You
just the tip, please.
Just the tip. As a man, don't let them see you finish. You get why?
You get why?
You get why?